Well, welcome to the Township Officials of Illinois. This is our newly elected official boot camp training. We do this every 4 years with the start of a new term, but we're going to take about 60 minutes, and we've divided the Township Board into 10 to 15-minute intervals, and we're going to talk about each position on the Township Board and the specifics to that in an effort to kind of get people familiar with what now they've newly been elected, maybe for the first time, or they've changed positions on the Township Board. So today with us to kick this program off, we have Lisa Hodge. Lisa is a township clerk in Blackberry Township in Kane County. She resides in Elburn, Illinois. Lisa is also the president of the Township Clerks Division, the Township Clerks of Illinois, and she sits on the TOI Board of Directors. Lisa's here to talk to us a little bit about her role as a clerk. Welcome, Lisa, to the program.
Thank you, Jerry.
Our first question is, what in your opinion is the role of your elected office, township clerk, in your township?
I believe my role as clerk is to be organized and take and keep accurate minutes of all township board meetings for the regular monthly meetings, all special meetings, and all closed session meetings. I make sure to post and publish the appropriate notices and to file the appropriate ordinances and levies. Preparing for and starting the annual town meeting is also a very important duty. The clerk is the only township official acting in any official capacity at the annual town meeting. I post the agendas for all the meetings, and I am the FOIA officer. I believe it is my job to be responsive to the residents. They call me or email me. That's one enjoyable aspect of my job, is that I help residents find answers to their questions. I also think it's my job to take continuing education so I can do my job to the best of my ability.
That's very true. As you started your term as a clerk, or when you began, what do you wish you would have known when you very first started and you walked into Blackberry Township to be the new clerk?
I wish I knew the township form of government. It is unique and it is closest to the people. Sadly, I had never attended a township meeting before I was asked to run for the office of clerk. However, since then, I have attended every education session offered by TOI and the Clerks Division.
We like to hear that. We always try to have programs designed to help you along your way. For any, we always encourage people that have never held office before. Sure. Most of the time people are asked to run and then they decide what the job entails. That being said, our next question as part of this program is, what do you think your role is on the township board when it comes to the work that you're asked to do and complete?
The Clerks Division has a motto: we preserve the history of our township as it happens. As clerk, I am keeper of all the records, and sometimes that puts me in a position to answer some questions that the board may have. I also believe that the clerk's duties and responsibilities revolve around the township calendar, so I work with the board to keep them up to date.
Yeah, that's very good. What would you recommend to a newly elected clerk coming into office today? What would you recommend?
I would say know your job. How can you do that? Review the newly revised Clerk's Handbook, take the education seminars offered, and read the Perspective magazine cover to cover, not just the Clerk's Corner. Be sure to have a copy of the Laws and Duties Handbook. Also, find your voice. Even though clerks don't have a vote on the board, unless it is to fill a vacancy when there is a tie, we should speak up and help educate our fellow township elected officials. Sometimes the other elected officials offer advice, but it might not be correct. I have another suggestion. Locate your township's records disposal file. Review it and get to know what documents and records may be legally disposed of in a timely fashion going forward. If your township doesn't have a disposal application on file, reach out to the Illinois State Archives Records Management Division to start the process. It's free.
To round this out, this section on the clerks, I want to ask each position this question as well. Township government's on the spotlight every year. And what would you recommend to people that are attending today on township government itself in Illinois. What advice would you give to township government?
I wish that every township board would work together and keep in mind that it's their constituency's money. Every elected township officer should take the education sessions, and not just for your office, but also learn about the duties and responsibilities of your fellow township elected officials. There are a lot of great education sessions offered during this November's virtual conference. The Clerks Division is planning to present 3 separate sessions to help educate clerks with our duties and responsibilities. Our bylaws charge us to provide educational opportunities with training for our members. I leave you with our mission statement: unifying clerks across Illinois with a solid base in knowledge by providing quality education to better serve our constituency.
Very good. Lisa, we want to thank you for being with us today, and thank you for your advice on these questions to township clerks. And we look forward to hearing from you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jerry.
Well, we'd like to welcome Chuck Lair to the program. Chuck sits on the board of directors with the Township Supervisors of Illinois, that Supervisors Division. Chuck has been on the board for quite some time, and he's going to talk to us today about the role of a supervisor. Chuck, we'd like to welcome you to the program. Do you have any opening comments you'd like to say?
Thank you, Jerry. And for all the newly elected officials, and even those of us that have been around for a while, these kind of things are an immense help to educate and help us along to run these townships. So we appreciate the work you do.
No, I couldn't agree with you more on the necessity of it. And what this program is, as people who joined us today as newly elected or returning on, we've broken the township board down into the individual roles that sit on the board. So we'll start with the first question to you as a supervisor. What, in your opinion, is the role of a supervisor, or in your township, the role of the supervisor, in your opinion?
Well, so if you look at the Illinois Township Supervisors Guide, which I hope all you supervisors do have in hand eventually, the first sentence says statutorily, you're defined as a CEO, and you are the treasurer of all the township funds and the administrator of the day-to-day business of the township. So you are the one. The township rolls as you roll. It's a very, it can be a very demanding position, but there's a lot of help out there, and don't ever let it be overwhelming.
I might clarify too, if people watching today are interested in that supervisor's manual, that's distributed by the Supervisors Division with your paid dues. So if anybody was looking for that, that's how they get it. I've been asking people who are in these roles, and you're someone who's been there for a while, nothing about age there, but what do you wish you would have known when you first started in your first term? Or you might give us a little bit of what brought you into township government.
Yeah, I wish I would have known exactly all the things that the township can give back to the community. One major thing I wished I would have known, how to run a meeting and keep things positive and motivated and on a roll. That's very important. It's amazing sometimes what it takes to have 4 or 5 people agree on things or disagree on things. Another thing I wished I would have known before I came in is some of the issues that come up in the township day to day. The normal person doesn't realize where we go and what we do. And that's a major thing. So yeah, the list could go on really for the first timers.
Yeah. Now, townships vary by size, by population, by demand, and so this can be different across the state, whether you're in a larger, medium size or smaller township. But what do you think your role is on the township board where you work as a supervisor?
So your role as a supervisor, you need to be the team leader. You're the organizer. Your township probably is as effective as you are as a leader and an organizer. And that's what you probably bring to the table every meeting. It's on your shoulders.
Yeah. What would you recommend to a newly elected official coming into the supervisor? This is their first time and they're wondering how they got talked into this and all this that they have to do now as an elected official in township government. What would your advice be to them?
Yeah, those things you thought the person you ran against wasn't doing anything. Well, guess what? He really was, wasn't he? And now it's your turn. Get to know your township needs. Go to all the educational sessions that your divisions have, the clerks and the trustees, the supervisors, TOI. Get to these educational sessions because they are a load of help. Get to know your legislators. That's huge. Get together with all your local officials. And if you don't have a county association, think about starting one. A lot of the issues that you have through the townships in your county are the same issues. And even statewide, when you get to know everyone, the issues really don't differ. Maybe the magnitude of some of them, but we all have basically the same issues. One important thing is always make that call back. If you tell somebody, let me look at this and let me call you back, call them back. Even if you don't have an answer, tell them that you're looking this up because your word's worth everything.
I've asked other officials, this similar question, but specifically to the supervisor and your role as a supervisor, the way a board gets along is very important. And the meeting decorum and the following of Robert's rules and posting of the agenda, there's a lot of, I want to say the word pressure, but there's a lot of, it's on the supervisor's responsibility list to kind of make that happen. Any advice you give to making that relationship among the board better for township officials, supervisors?
Be a team leader, be a good listener. That's really important. And direct, when you have that meeting, have a direct goal in mind and try to lead those trustees or the clerk or everybody down that road. Keep them on a positive path. Take control of that meeting. That meeting and that township rules as your ability to handle that meeting. So yeah, be a good listener.
Yeah, I think that's very good advice. Listen, and that's for anything we do in township government. But lastly, what advice would you have for township government in general? I mean, we're under the microscope all the time. We just had an election. We've got a huge turnover, 25% turnover we're looking at maybe. We're waiting for those numbers to come in. But generally, what advice would you have for township government in this current term?
There's been some rough roads in the last few years. But what I'd say is stay the course. Township government is the closest form to the people. It's something that we need and we can't lose. And we need to educate the people, and not only the people, but the legislators on what we do and who we are. There has been in the past a lot of talk, and there still is a lot of talk about elimination and consolidation. When actually, I think what we should be talking about is cooperation. And stay the course. Township is the best bang for the buck, bar none.
Well, that's very true statement there. Well, any last comments? I think we appreciate you being here with us today, Chuck, and all the people that are on the virtual boot camp newly elected official training. I forgot to mention that Chuck is from Rock Island County, Black Hawk Township, and we appreciate what you do for the TOI board and the supervisors board. Any final thoughts before we move on with the program?
I'd just like to say to all those newly elected officials out there, good luck. And if you ever need a help or assistance, Jerry, TOI is there, the supervisors board, the clerks board, it's out there, and talk to your local officials. And for all of my other friends that have been around for a while, like I have, stay the course. We're going to get her done.
Well, thank you so much for contributing to the program and for what you do for township government, Chuck. We appreciate that. Have a great day.
Thank you, Jerry, and everybody out there. Have a good day.
Well, now on the program, I'd like to welcome Don Goad. Don Goad is not only a member of the TOI Board of Directors, he is the current president of the Township Highway Commissioners Division, and he also is from McHenry County, Greenwood Township. He's no stranger to what we do here at the Township Officials of Illinois, and he's going to answer some of our questions for this program. Welcome, Don. Do you have any opening comments you'd like to say?
I'd like to say thank you, Jerry, very much for having me on. And only my opening comments, I'm in my work clothes so that you can see actually what a highway commissioner looks like at the job. So let's continue on, Jerry.
That's great. Well, the first question is, what is the one thing that you wish you would have known when you took office for the very first time as a highway commissioner, walked in the door? Any words of advice for our newly elected officials today that are highway commissioners for the first time?
All right. So let's answer the first one, as far as what I wish I would have known. I thought I knew a lot when I took this job, but it was overwhelming and there's way too much to know. I think the key words to answer this question are education, experience, and some common sense. You have to have the willingness to learn in order to do this job, to your best ability. I doubt any highway commissioner can claim he knows it all. So the next question was what, Jerry?
The next question is, what mistakes did you think you made in your first term that you would not have made if you would have been aware of some of the changes?
Or you mean, what would you recommend to a newly
Yes. Recommendations. Yes. Sorry about that.
Yes. Understand that taking on the role of a highway commissioner is a huge commitment. Public perception is an important aspect of the job as a highway commissioner. There is no such thing as a dumb question. That's an important part of the highway commissioners. The more questions you can ask, the more you're going to learn and the faster you're going to learn. Educate yourself with every available opportunity. And also, anytime that you have a question and you're going to make a decision, research and ask a lot of questions before you make a final decision on any part of your job that you're going to do. Work with the veteran highway commissioners for their knowledge and expertise. Be aware and work within the legal parameters of your position. Oath of office. Take that seriously, please. We have a saying as veteran highway commissioners: if your actions will be reported in a newspaper in a negative way, I would reconsider or basically don't do it.
What in your opinion, Don, what do you think the role of a highway commissioner is today?
The highway commissioner has a lot of roles. The number one priority should be public safety. This includes, but is not limited to, working with law enforcement agencies in your area, roads, maintenance, repair, and construction, right-of-ways, mowing and debris removal, signage, daily and weekly inventory checks, snow removal and de-icing, bridges, safety and repair, drainage, address water runoff and flooding issues, tree trimming and removal. And that's just a few of the main jobs or priorities of a highway commissioner. And to be administrator too, work within your township, manage your employees, and outside your township, networking with other elected officials and networking with all local governments. And here's a couple of last points, fiscally be responsible with taxpayers' money, being efficient, effective, and accountable with the road district's budget.
Those are very good. Which, to the last question I've asked everybody that's participated today, wrapping that all up, what are your recommendations for township government?
I would say stay current, stay abreast of the ever-changing times, stay effective and efficient, and communicate with the whole state what we do as a township and a road district, and how we do it. I mean, I think that's so important to get the message out to all the people that your constituents in the state of Illinois.
Thank you. And I know this is kind of a question that's not on the list that I had provided to everybody, because you're in a unique situation as a highway commissioner. You're not really mandated or required to go to a township board meeting. We always want you to be there. We recommend that you be there. Do you have any comments off the cuff? I know I didn't say this to you earlier in preparing, but how you to work with the board. Any recommendations on working with, your responsibilities in board meetings, et cetera?
In order to make your job easier and the board's job easier, you need to communicate with the board effectively. You need to be transparent with every responsibility, whether it's financial, buying equipment, whatever you're doing, you need to be active with the board as a highway commissioner.
Very good. Well, I thank you for taking time to talk to us today. We're going to do some questions and answers if anybody has them, but final thoughts, road districts, highway commissioners who are on the call today.
Let's see, what would be my final thought? I would say take this job very seriously. It's an important role that you provide to all your constituents, that's for sure. Just remember, you're working for them. Then they are the most important part of your job.
Those are wise words there. I appreciate that. Well, Don, thank you very much for being part of the program, and stick around for some questions. And thanks again. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, Jerry. Thank you very much for having me on.
Well, we'd like to welcome Mike Reynolds to the program today. Mike serves as the current president of the Trustees Division in Illinois with the Township Officials of Illinois. And what we've asked each division president is to answer a couple questions, 4 or 5 questions on their role, not only as an elected official, but as a trustee. So Mike, we'd like to welcome you to the program. Is there any opening statement you'd like to make?
I have a short one.
Okay, go ahead.
Congratulations to all the new elected officials that joined in this program today. And thank you for taking time out of your day to do this. We have to, we're learning the education. We have to learn our duties and responsibilities as a township official. And this is one way we do through the boot camps, through the training. It's very important. And TOI offers a lot of it, and the trustees work with TOI.
I agree. Our first question for you. What, in your opinion, is the role of a township trustee in your own particular township?
The role of the township trustee is to approve the bills. We used to be called auditors. Our main job is to look at the bills coming in, the invoices coming in, make sure they're legitimate bills and they're in the budget, and authorize their payment. It's pretty much that simple.
Very true. And they were called auditors. You are correct, several years ago. What do you wish you would have known when you started in your first term as a trustee over there in Long Creek Township?
I wish I'd known everything the township does. I mean, I knew roads, and then we have water department. You oversee cemetery funds. You oversee general assistance. We have, water department. You have all these other pieces that you don't see, and it makes it interesting and it's fun to learn. But I wish I'd known more, but I know more now.
I should have done this and checked before we started today. Is this how many terms have you served as a trustee? Quite a few, I think. Put you on the spot.
2.5.
I
still took somebody's.
You have had experience with the township board. What do you think the role of the township board is in the community?
The role of the township board in the community is to be aware of what the community needs. Like I said, listen and what are their needs. We share a park with village. They have a walking trail, walking path. We have different things. You have to listen and if it's feasible, give something back to the community.
Very good. If you could sit a new trustee down in the corner, what would you tell them or recommend to them as a brand new township official joining the environment that we all work in? What would you tell a new trustee today?
First off, read your manual and ask questions. No, don't be afraid to ask a question. And make sure when you can, you attend boot camps for education, because that's the biggest way you can educate yourself.
Piggybacking on that question, what advice would you have for township government today in Illinois?
Do what you're supposed to do. Be aware of your constituents, of the voters, and be honest. And that's all I can think of.
Good deal. I mean, do you have any other words of wisdom to send to those people participating with the program today? We've got newly elected officials from all over the state logging on today. Any advice for them? Final words?
Don't just get discouraged. And one thing about it, you can pick up the phone and call TOI. On most things, I want to make something that I learned. If you need a legal opinion, talk to your township lawyer, because that's a sticky wicket. But on other things, TOI will work with you and help you get on the right path.
Absolutely. Well, Mike, we want to thank you for being with us today. We thank you for what work you do with the Trustees Division Board and for helping us educate trustees that are joining us today for the program. We'll stick around for some live questions and answers at the end of this, but we appreciate what you do and we look forward to talking to you later. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jerry.
What, in your opinion, is the role of a township assessor in your township?
Well, again, it's a little bit of a diverse question, but the core common components, whether you're rural, urban, Cook County, or anywhere else in the state of Illinois, is our job is the professional valuation of real estate in the jurisdiction, whether it be farmland, 50-story building, or somewhere in between. The quality of the data and the execution of our mission of putting a fair and accurate value is something we maintain and rise up to the challenge each and every year.
What do you wish you knew or would have known when you started in your first term?
Well, starting our first term, we're pretty green on what the rules and operations, and we come off of schooling. We have our CIO designation or in the process of getting it. And what we learn in the books and what we find out in reality is kind of a mix or a hybrid, if you would. I wish I would have known then that our Chief County Assessment Officer, Supervisor of Assessments, are also a wealth of information. We're always looking to the assessors in the jurisdictions adjacent to us, but I can tell you that they're an incredible wealth of information and always there to help out.
Okay. What do you think your role is to the Township Board?
Well, our role to the Township Board is education. A lot of members of our township team come on board for the first time and aren't really sure what the assessor does. The automatic default expectation is that we raise people's taxes and that somehow we're quote unquote the bad guys in that. But educating them on what we really do, which is mass appraisal and the quality and accuracy of the information we gather and maintain, that builds the credibility and understanding why they need to give us the resources to execute our mission.
What would you recommend to a newly elected assessor?
Do a great job. Just kidding. To a newly elected assessor, reach out, ask questions. Don't think you're supposed to know everything just because you now have the job and the expectation to get the work done. When in doubt, pick up the phone. Again, call a adjacent jurisdiction, call your supervisor of assessments, call the IPAI, or call the Illinois Assessors Association. Between those resources, someone will track down the answer or put you on a pathway where you will get to the value conclusion you're looking for.
Okay. What advice do you have for township government in Illinois?
Advice I have for township government from an assessor standpoint is we continuously need the job of public relations, whether it's with our local municipalities, our school officials, members of the community, senior citizens, or first-time homeowners, allowing them to understand what we provide, how we provide it, and the value we provide allows them to believe that we are legitimate and a working component of their tax bill.
Anything else?
Just good luck. Thanks for coming on board. You may be watching this and you haven't yet taken your office, as assessor's terms will start January 1 of 2022 and move on from there. But good luck, and thanks again for taking the challenge.